watching on the sidelines as the demon is continually stabbed by the Bloodhound Knights. Victor tells them that Andromalius has the power to suck blood and recover with magic power. So he advises the knights that if they were injured, they needed to jump into the poisonous river. Since they couldn't help the demon, Victor orders for all the bloodhounds present to never get a single scratch on their bodies. The Bloodhound Knights were filled with vigor as they responded to Victor's commands over them. As you command, shouted the knights as they carried out Victor's orders without hesitation. Boston was proudly laughing over what Victor had done, seeing how his nephew was able to raise the Bloodhound Knights' killing intent with a mere few words. Dane, on the other hand, was impressed by how well Victor was leading the Bloodhound Knights for the first time. However, for Hugo, he felt something different. He couldn't believe that he didn't notice that one of his sons had actually turned into a demon. Looking at the scene unfolding before his very eyes, he wonders if this was the true reality of the Baskerville clan right now. Andromalius was able to escape from the Bloodhound Knights' endless waves of attacks by summoning snakes to counterattack the Mutt's attack. But it was pointless, as all it did was give him a moment of freedom. Facing against the snakes, the Bloodhound Knights were able to easily slice and dice them into pieces. Once again, their blades entered Andromalius, who could do nothing but be a punching bag for the Bloodhound Knights. As their blades entered every spot across his body, Andromalius started to panic. Despite knowing about his abilities, the knights were fearlessly and constantly attacking him. He couldn't imagine that the Bloodhounds of the Baskerville were this powerful. Scanning the area, Andromalius knew that even if he regenerates at the current rate he was going, it would only be wasting his magic power. He needed to find another way out of this situation. That's when he notices that Osiris was standing on the cliff alongside the others, watching everything from the start. Thinking that he could use his older brother as a way out, Andromalius shouts to the commanders and Victor, "Let's negotiate." Begged the mighty demon, on his knees with blades across his neck, Andromalius tells the Baskerville leaders and Victor to let him live. In exchange he would leave Set's body right now, as he was sure that the Baskerville clan wouldn't abandon the second son that easily. Victor was the first to respond to the demon's demands. With his bloodhound aura raging, and with murder in his eyes, Victor asks Andromalius if he really thought that the Baskerville clan would agree to what he says that easily. But the demon expected such a reaction from Victor, as he knew that such a deal wouldn't work on them. But all he needed was support from a single member, which was why the demon shouted out for Osiris. Andromalius started to bargain with the oldest son of the Baskerville clan, asking him if he was planning on letting the Bloodhounds kill his younger brother who had followed him since young. Using past memories of Osiris's interaction with Set, Andromalius believed that he was the kindest person in the Baskerville clan. So he just needed to convince him in order to have a chance at leaving this place alive. Andromalius warns Osiris with a smile on his face that this was his last chance to save his dear younger brother, Set. But the elder brother didn't respond right away. Instead he kept silent upon hearing the demon's words. Osiris decided to meet the demon face on and jumped down. As he walked past Victor, our boy warned him to not fall for the demon's words as it was lying. But Osiris simply walks past everyone, without muttering a single word. His steps soon come to a stop. He was now in front of his so-called younger brother who had been possessed by the demon Andromalius. The bloodhounds beside the demon held onto its arms as Osiris stared at it. He then asked the demon a question, wondering if his younger brother's soul was truly still present, and if there was a way for it to save him. Hearing this brought a smile to Andromalius' face as he realizes that Osiris had fallen to its trap. Using its shape-shifting abilities, Andromalius changes his true form back to Set's face. Using his voice as well, he tells Osiris, "Dear brother, I'm still alive." He even apologizes to Osiris for selling his soul to the demon, explaining to everyone present that he only did it because of the times when they were compared together and judged by their father, Hugo. Those times were hard for Set, who was weak at the time. Using Set's voice, Andromalius continues to beg to Osiris, telling him that he truly regretted selling his soul to the demon, and that despite all of that, the chaos that occurred up to now was something that he was willing to take the blame for. With a painful expression on his face as tears run down his eyes, Set begs his older brother for a chance to atone for his sins. Despite hearing his younger brother's voice and painful expression on his face as he begs for forgiveness, Osiris simply answers back with a swing of his sword. The eldest child of the Baskerville clan had personally beheaded his own younger brother's head, the second son of the family, with his own hands. Osiris had done it out of kindness, telling his younger brother that this was the only thing that he could do for him, even though it would leave him with bitter feelings. But as Set's head rolled onto the ground, it started to move on its own as Osiris made his way back to the leaders of the Baskerville clan. As Osiris sheathed his sword, Victor tells him to not blame himself, as Set's soul had already passed on and all of this was just the acting of Andromalius. But Osiris still felt guilty, blaming himself for allowing the demon to approach Set with such intentions. He only regretted the fact that as the eldest son of the family, he should have looked after Set properly when they were younger. But looking at the endless amount of children's skeletons scattered on the ground, Osiris felt that it was too early for him to feel sorry about the corruption and death of their bloodline. Right now, he was saddened over the children who were to become the future of the Baskerville clan, were instead sacrificed to a demon as meals. As the vice-patriarch, Osiris could only feel embarrassed by not knowing about all of this, and that he had been dancing in the palm of the demons for so long. But as they were talking, one of the Bloodhound Knights spotted something happening with Set's head. It was flying in the air above him, trying to escape. Andromalius was happily laughing to himself, after transforming Set's head back into its true form along with wings and a tail this time. He continues to look down at the Baskerville clan, calling them idiots. He reveals to them that the opening of the gate had only been delayed, which couldn't be helped, but he was sure that his older brothers will do better. The demon couldn't help himself, and told the Baskerville clan that he was going to come back and kill them once his body recovers. Victor and Osiris could do nothing but watch as Andromalius was too far up in the sky for any of their attacks to reach him. Too bad that the demon forgot about a really powerful somebody. Hugo takes over, reminding his two sons, Victor and Osiris, about the lesson of how a swordsman should never show their back. Talking about shitting his pants, Andromalius started to experience a whole new level of fear as he looked at Hugo. The demon was confused about what he was feeling right now as it was certain that Set had completely died, and yet, for some reason, he could still feel the same fear that Set felt towards Hugo, who right now is charging up his bloodhound powers. As Hugo lets out a deep breath with his eye glowing bright red, Andromalius realizes that what he was feeling was just genuine fear felt towards a powerful being. Unleashing his own sword for the first time in this manhwa, every single member of the Baskerville clan had their eyes on Hugo, who finally takes a single swing towards the demon flying high in the sky. But as he lets out that single swing, for a moment nothing happened, only silence could be heard. Andromalius started to regain his confidence after seeing that nothing happened after Hugo took a swing at him. He started to taunt Hugo, telling him that even if he was a swordmaster, there was no way he could reach him this high up. But too bad, the demon was unaware of what was happening to the skies behind him. Because that single swing from Hugo was enough to smash everything to pieces in front of him, cutting and slicing everything, from the ground to the skies and finally the manhwa panel that it was drawn in. Cut marks appeared all over Andromalius' face as he slowly bled, unaware that he was already dead. As he fades into nothingness, the demon was left speechless, as he never thought that he would die to a mere human being. Victor was left feeling a bit nervous as he witnessed Hugo in his true form as the Sword Saint. Looking at the once dark skies, it was now shining brightly, as Hugo was powerful enough to rip the skies to shreds. This is the power of a swordmaster's sword. After a few days, a notice was posted in the squares of all the territories managed by the Baskerville family. The Baskerville family investigated the truth about the missing children's case and related serial incidents and started the process of compensation. This was the announcement of the investigation about missing children's case and compensation. Our goal is to disclose the truth about the missing children's incidents that occurred between the imperial calendar BC year 10 to AC year 19, and compensate accordingly, as per the special Victor law, paragraph 1 clause 4. Because of this announcement, every citizen of the clan went into shock. Although the news about a demon king ranked demon had come to Earth wasn't revealed, it was announced frankly that this horrific incident regarding the missing children was the doing of the Baskerville's family's second oldest son. Not long after that, the trial began for Set's mother, Newt. She was dragged through the streets of the city, handcuffed to her wardens and made to wear just a rag as her clothes. Including the charges of poisoning the children's rooms, poisoning the first wife, kidnapping the patriarch's eldest daughter and assisting Set to kidnap the young children, she was eventually sentenced to immediate execution for a total of 1642 charges. Newt had not been brainwashed by the demon, which was unexpected. But the weird thing was, that even right before her execution, she screamed, asking to see Set. After that, Set's henchmen were also executed. The person in charge of this case was the vice-patriarch, Osiris. Everything about the case was managed and controlled by him, but in reality, there was one more person who helped, a person that Osiris had temporarily handed over his authority to. It's our boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Victor Van Baskerville. Rumors started to spread about him being the bridge between the war against the barbarians, and him being the greatest contributor from this incident. The public opinion was filled with discontent, however it started to decrease as they started to worship Vikir. It didn't even take a week for Osiris and Vikir to finish things up in the clan. The fact that a high-ranking person within the Baskerville clan was executed came as a great shock to many citizens. The Baskerville law was once again known to everyone, that even members of the Baskerville family were not exempt from them. After all the bloodshed and cleaning up, we returned to a peaceful moment with our sweet angel. Hugo had her sitting on his lap as he asked her about what had changed about Grandpa. Hearing his question, Pomerian couldn't help but think about it seriously. With her sharp eyes, she spotted what was different about Hugo this time. She shouted and pointed out that Grandpa's beard was gone. Hugo was happy to hear that, asking her what she thought about it. Pomerian couldn't help but giggle, saying his face looks so empty now. As Osiris and Vikir stood side by side near the doors, our boy couldn't help thinking about how chaotic it was in the Baskerville clan, but looking at Hugo and Pomerian now, it felt like nothing had ever happened. Well, since everyone and everything that's related to Set had almost been purged. Now the traces of the demon have vanished from the Baskerville territories. Vikir had also commissioned Cindy to get information about the other demons, so if he waited, he was sure to get results. But Cindy was kind of against finding the locations of the other Demon King ranked demons, since she only had one life to live. As the brothers continued to stand side by side, Osiris thanks Vikir for a job well done. He also reminded Vikir about how it looks like his entrance to the academy had been delayed due to the incident with Set, so he tells him to prepare for it soon. But Vikir was against it as he knew that the family was still in chaos. Osiris assures Vikir that he didn't have to worry about the family, as this was Hugo's decision as well. Hearing that, it pays Vikir's attention, as he couldn't believe that Hugo was sending him to the academy in this current situation. He believed that using him to clean up things would be more effective, so Vikir could only wonder what Hugo was planning on doing. Osiris started to smile, revealing to Vikir that Hugo was probably worried about how he would be swept up in the battle for power. Osiris continues to tell Vikir that recently, he had felt like he had gotten to know his father, and that Hugo was just bad at expressing himself, but he was worried about Vikir. Once again, as the person closest to their father, Osiris assures Vikir that what he said was true and that he could be trusted. Hearing that, Vikir didn't reply and instead turned to look at Hugo, who was now braiding Pomerian's hair under the guidance of Barrymore. As he was done with the braiding, Pomerian couldn't help but smile and giggle over how well it was. Seeing them so close together, Vikir slowly realized that he had been looking through the lens of the past again. In his previous life, he had lived it with a collar around his neck. Watching Hugo's back closely from behind as he held his leash, following as he was led by the collar. Which was why, the Vikir back then, didn't know that Hugo also had a collar chained around his neck, and he too, was being led somewhere by something. The things Vikir knew were starting to change slowly. The experience he gained from meeting with the Morgs, barbarians and in the city, finally meeting with Pomerian. And the despair he saw when Hugo found his missing granddaughter, and having to fight against a Demon King ranked demon. And finally, the present scene that was happening right now in front of him, where Pomerian was reunited with her grandfather that she adored so much. But the biggest change so far was from Hugo, who now smiles without holding back. This was the expression he had when he didn't have a chain around his neck. And so, Vikir knew now that the Hugo that he wanted to get revenge on, no longer existed in this life. Meaning it so, that the past him is finally free and no longer restrained by the chain of hatred and revenge. With the peaceful and sweet scene of today, Vikir couldn't help but smile, knowing that his past revenge was no longer needed in this life. He announces to Osiris that he was going to the academy next, which was something he accepted as a good and wise decision. But even though his past hatred and need for revenge was gone, it wasn't over for Vikir. As he grabbed onto his leash once again, he knew that he couldn't just let go of it yet. Because the one who truly held the other end of the leash, the ones hiding in the darkness, were the demons of the other world. Wrapping his chains around his arm, Vikir was determined as he had a new goal in this life. Thus, his true revenge has only just begun. The scene changes to a town at nighttime. Everything seems peaceful for a moment. Before the clock tower started to bang from the inside. Soon enough, a demonic human being smashes their way out of the clock tower, destroying it in the process, while chasing after a familiar hooded assassin Creed figure. As they both landed safely onto a nearby rooftop, the demon was confused by what was going on as it welded its massive arms made out of hands, asking the masked figure about who he was. The demonic human was confused on how the stranger was able to figure out that he had made a deal with the demon. The demonic human then charged towards the masked figure, who simply stood still, summoning Beelzebub onto his arm. Who am I? Asked masked figure to the demonic human as he unleashes a mad wave of cuts onto it, removing his arms and hands from the demonic human's body. As it suffers in the air, the masked figure leaps high above it in the night sky, before stomping its life out of existence, ending the fight by smashing the head of the demonic being to pieces. It works as its hand trembles for the last time before giving out. Walking away from the dead demonic human, the masked figure introduces himself as the Night Hound. Removing his mask slowly, we can see that it's our boy Vikir van Baskerville, the Avenger of the Demons. We have now come to the end of chapter 74, which means the end of season 1. Thank you all for keeping up with it.